wow, he just showed up. I didn't even know we were ready to do this. Well, hi, Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Doing his
That's all I got
job.
for today. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. This is gonna be a quick one.
I'm tired because I'm currently working on the Grumpy Dungeon Master Anniversary Dungeon Champion Challenge that's going
Yeah,
to happen here July 9th. So I pretty much spent every single night till like 3 or 4 a.m. working on getting the dungeon all set up that people are going to have to run and stuff like that. So I'm exhausted. And then I ran an extra game this week for the Baldur's Gate release. I went to my local game stores, Energy, and ran a game for a bunch of people there. It was a lot of fun. Baldur's Gate is a really good campaign adventure. It's just brutal. Like, okay, Frostmaiden was brutal. We all played that essentially, and like everything can kill you in Frost in Icewind Dale. The
There- it.
Frost Maiden stuff is going to be there and kill you too.
Yeah, there is some dangerous encounters in that one for sure.
Right. And it's not like there's anything like, oh, there's an ancient white dragon for your party of level 5 people. No, by the time you hit level 5, you're actually in Avernus. So, like, it
Yeah,
can't get much worse than that.
yeah. Like
But,
I got to play that one for a couple of game sessions. I think we made it to level 2, maybe 3. So we were still on the prime. Unfortunately, I never got to see the fun parts of it, where it's all
yeah,
Mad Max and shit.
uh, well, I was running it for Adventures League, and we got to the point where they got the War Machine, and then COVID hit. So, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
bad timing. But, like, so, like, the first, okay, the campaign is set to be balanced around a group of 4 people, again, like every other campaign is. And at level 1, the very first encounter that you get is 8 bandits and a bandit captain.
All right.
Right?
All
Right
right.
out of the gate, 8 bandits and a bandit captain. So I had 6 people at the table today when I was running that. And 2 of them dropped. One of them died. Like, straight up dead. And like all I did is add a single extra bandit, so I had 9. So I had 3 groups of 3 bandits, and then I had the bandit captain. And even like one of the animated armor just punched one of the bandits in the back of the head because it got too close to him, and took one out.
Yeah.
So it's rough. The second encounter in Baldur's Gate is in this bathhouse, and
Yeah, I remember that one. That
the
was a.
night the night blades are like
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah. Yeah.
women cultists.
Yep.
And if you're near them, like in melee range, they give you piercing vulnerability. So worse than critical strike, worse than getting a critical, you just basically get stabbed and you take double damage. And what was funny about this part was, it's like they're supposed to be very aggressive. So the second you walk through the door, they attack the party. In this case, it was just a single party member just busted in with some swaggers like, I'm here for a bath. So they were like, okay, why don't you go ahead and get down to, undress to your comfort level and hop in the bathtub?
Yeah.
So he
Take off
does
all
that.
your weapons and armor.
He takes off all his weapons and armor, and then one of the other players is like, oh, I want to do that. And he runs over, that does the
Oh
same thing.
no.
The rest of the group are outside on like in the garden and on the road, like, this place is supposed to be evil, right? I'm like, yeah, we got to keep an eye out. And so, like, the door is closed and everyone's not there. So all of a sudden, you're just getting stabbed in the bathtub, taking like 12 damage every single turn. It was
Oh
bad.
no. Yeah, that's a bad outcome. If I recall right, and it's been a few years since we ran or played this. It was pre-COVID when we were doing it. I want to say we ended up sneaking in there after dark.
Yeah, they just went straight there during
Yeah,
the day.
we ended up sneaking in. We did fight them on the way out in the courtyard, but
Mhm.
we definitely were wearing arms and armor and fully ready to go when we encountered this.
Not not blinded by having
Yeah,
like a hot towel compress on your
yeah.
face,
Not. I want to go take
thrown
a
in the tub.
swim in the sauna. Yeah,
Does that feel good? How about this stab? Uh,
yeah. Good
so it
grief.
was it was pretty rough. What was actually funny about that is I actually was playing at this time when we had that encounter, and it was October, I think, of 2019. All right,
Mhm.
and like I said, I was playing, and Adventure Lake had their Halloween thing kind of like happen. So like there was a chance at random encounters, and the DMs who were running Adventure Lake at the time decided to have a random encounter where a peppermint young dragon showed up and fought the party. Okay,
All right. I'm
so
listening.
it's a dragon made of peppermint candy for the Halloween event. Okay, and like so this dragon just shows up and just starts wrecking house with us, breathing a peppermint flame blast on us. Uh, luckily, I was playing Thalders. I was playing my sword and board tank, and I took shield mastery because you do,
If you're using
and
a shield, you take shield mastery.
the dragon just jumped at me. I didn't get hurt by the breath, oddly enough, and I knocked the thing prone, and we were able to give it in like 2 rounds, I think. But still, Peppermint Dragon. We're
I got
level one.
yeah, level 1 even worse. Peppermint dragon does not sound like a Halloween thing though. Pumpkin dragon, pumpkin spice dragon, something like that. But a peppermint, no, that's Christmas, man. That does
It's
not show up
Christmas.
until Christmas time.
So, um, that was entertaining. We also had Adventures League this week, and the player that I killed in the Baldur's Gate thing's the same player that I killed in the Adventures League this week. He was playing
Are
a
they
bugbear.
real? Are they really new?
No, they're actually quite experienced.
Oh, okay.
He just bad luck at the die. Well, he actually had really good luck when it came to surviving all the damage that was thrown at him today
Mhm.
at the Baldur's Gate thing, and the the forgot the Frostmaiden one was more just a victim of circumstance. He was playing a bugbear with like 6 intelligence, and he kept touching the Shardalian stuff that was everywhere.
Right.
And I have it so like you go insane every time you touch it. So he kept touching it. He kept petting a little tiny Shardalian shard that he had, and so he kept driving more and more and more insane. And then he decided just to basically he went permanently insane and had to always be drunk. So he just was always
That's right.
drunk
Yeah.
at this point in time. And he decided to walk away all by himself, and then a mimic ate him. And the
Hey,
person that was trying to
mimics got to
stop
eat
him,
too, man.
the person that was trying to stop him, like she tried to grapple him and pull him out of the room, so like he wouldn't go into this dark room by himself. But he's like, "Nah, I'm going." And he beat the grapple check to not get pulled out of the room by this girl. She sees him gets eaten by the mimic, and she just goes, "Okay, I just closed the door." And I walk away whistling like nothing happened.
There are a few party members I've occasionally wanted to do that exact same maneuver to.
I'm not here anymore. You have
Yep.
fun.
Yep. I might have to do that to our buddy Jacob's character at some point. He plays a Warforged named Rust Bucket. He's a sorcerer,
Hmm.
and he's he's very I guess immature is the best way of thinking about it. The character is pretty old, but he's never been around society. So he has, and being a Warforged, he just sort of has a weird way of looking at people. And everything you do just sort of puts you on a list of whether he likes you, doesn't care about you, or does not like you. And my character went from one very easily from one he liked to one he dislikes. Because I basically proved to him that he actually can die and that he is mortal. Up until until I did that, he thought, no, I'm perfect. I can't die. So now I've ruined his entire outlook on life. Now that he knows he can actually just perish like everybody else. So that also set him into a mind state where every threat is either not a threat at all or I'm killing it. There's not really an in between. So
Okay.
if he considers something a threat at all, he's just going to attack it, even if it's not necessarily a threat. Which it's we've had to leave him on the boat a couple of times.
Is that like Like that's the wink nod that people get. We got to leave him on the boat. Like we got to send him up north to the farm for winter.
Oh no, we actually are we're playing pirates, so we
Oh yeah,
actually
that's right.
leave him on the boat sometimes.
Boo!
Yeah.
Stay there.
You stay on the boat.
Yeah, I really
We're going
like.
to talk to these people that are a little rough. We don't want you accidentally starting a fight with them.
I actually really like having Warforged PCs in the Forgotten Realms settings, especially if the player is someone who always misses a bunch, because that way you can just basically justify it as, oh, the Warforged is just going into power cycle mode, and it doesn't feel as weird as like a normal PC.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, they're just gonna go take a nap for 24 hours, which I could do in real life, but the Warforged PC it just feels like a little different. Like, oh, he's gonna show up and save us, or like, oh, he's at the home guarding it because he's a robot. It just doesn't feel as weird when you
Yeah,
have that one player that drops in and out all the time, and it's just he's the Warforged, you
yeah.
know?
No, I love gaming with our buddy Jacob as the Warforged specifically because so last night we were playing and we went through a trap area. It was unavoidable. We had to progress through it, and it basically cast Feeble Mind on the whole party, and three of us failed it. Myself, one of the other people, and Jacob. So, yeah, we're all feeble-minded. We all have an intelligence of 1. And every time Jacob's turn would come up, he would just start playing I guess it was a YouTube video or something, and it's just like old DOS, like DOS computer noises. Nothing would function correctly. We then looked up the like AOL connecting to the internet noises.
Yeah. I actually forgot. I saw a video on Reddit a little while back where someone booted up a Windows 98 machine, and like to hear all the parts in the computer that were like, mechanical
Yeah, the
or
whirring. The
yeah,
whirring. Yep.
like I had forgotten about that. Like that dated me, and that's when I finally became old forever. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
those old
that
PCs
did
were
it.
noisy, especially compared to what we have nowadays.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
Warforged are they're an interesting uh race to play. I don't allow them in my own home campaign, but I like them in Forgotten Realms and other settings. I can't say I've never actually played one though. Where I don't think I have.
They're
Uh,
really fun to play. Well, it depends on how the world treats robots, because
mhm,
like Forgotten Realms is pretty easy. You're a clockwork robot. You have a function, and that's pretty much it.
yeah,
And somehow you have a voice, but you don't really have a personality or like goals. There's nothing driving you. You're just like, my function is to sword and board. That's all I'm going to do. You know.
right.
That's why I said it works really well for that player that always has to drop in and out because they can just come in and be like, I am Robot Man. I lift your shit. I'm turned on. Time for attack mode. And just go crazy. And
I would play that. Yeah,
yeah,
that actually sounds just kind of fun to play where you don't have goals.
yeah.
You have orders.
I mean, that's how I play Valorant too.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I w- I think it would be fun to play occasionally. I don't think I'd want to do it full time.
Yeah, like I said, again, it works best for the person that drops in and out. That way they can just pick it up and go, oh, okay. I don't have to do much more to think, and I get to play the tactical game and
Hmm.
be funny.
Yeah.
I mean, our friend Chris Beasley, he was a Warforged that came in and just subbed for a little while when my wife had to take some time off. You
Yep.
know, oh the artificer built the Warforged, and the Warforged is in the party now. Okay, cool. Oh, Jinx is back. She turned off the Warforged and put it back in her pocket. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I
Fair.
it makes the role play so much easier,
I mean, who the hell doesn't want a pocket Warforged?
right? And like the Warforged are cool because in the Eberron setting, they're like a bunch of magic shoved into like a living tree rock thing, that
Yep.
kind of created them. But you can kind of do whatever you want with Warforged in any setting. Like Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age series. I like how they handled the stone golems, the dwarven stone golems. That's essentially a Warforged. Yeah, it's a stone golem, but a dwarf soul was shoved into this giant rock thing that they made for it. and this one just happened to be chiseled down a bunch, so it's much smaller,
Mhm.
and it walks around as a Warforged. Doesn't need to eat, sleep, or breathe, or do anything weird. Really has no goals, and is essentially immortal now. So yeah,
I had actually,
congrats.
I
You're
had
playing a
actually,
Warforged.
yeah, I had forgotten completely about that character right now until you just mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was one of the
Shield.
expansion characters. Yeah, that's
Yep.
it.
I mean, so it's pretty easy. Like, no matter what setting you have, you could always have some kind of ancient, long forgotten civilization or tech that just happened to leave behind a clockwork robot that has some tiny degree of sentience, and that's your player. Hell, that's Skyrim. You
Yeah.
know, the dwarves disappeared in the Elder Scrolls series, and they left behind all their clockwork monstrosities to kill you.
Oh, I know. I've
What's
killed a lot of them.
Yeah, what's to say? What's to say one of them doesn't just go, huh? What if I don't kill everybody and instead farm? You know?
Yeah, I have always thought that was one of the interesting things about Skyrim, and I
Hmm.
kind of like that they did it for a long time in Forgotten Realms too. But just having an ancient, powerful race that is not around anymore,
Hmm.
and then it's the mystery of what happened to them.
Yeah,
Because the in Skyrim or just the Elder Scrolls setting, the Dwemer, which basically they were the dwarves from my understanding, all of the statues and things look like dwarves. But
yeah.
I've never found in all the games an answer to what actually happened to them. I've
I
always
don't
been
think
curious.
there is one.
I kind of hope that the creators behind it know what happened to them. Like, yeah, whoever the original creator of yeah, I guess it would have been just the Elder Scrolls was the first game. Yeah, because Daggerfall came later. But yeah,
Yeah,
I hope that whoever that was behind that storyline actually knows the answer to that.
yeah. Um,
But yeah, in Forgotten Realms, you had uh the Shadow people. I'm drawing a blank on their name right now. The ones with the flying cities.
the Netherseas.
Yeah, the Netheril.
Yeah,
Now, mind you, they apparently were not completely gone, and at this point, the story has sort of been filled out as to what happened to them. But
yeah.
we're yeah not going to talk too much on that. Not now at the moment.
No, but a couple other good examples too of like just what you would consider a Warforged just appearing is you go back as far as Chrono Trigger when you pick up Robo.
Mhm.
You know, you're traveling into the future and you find one robot out of an entire assembly line that's been shut off or damaged. I can't remember which. He gets repaired and now he has sentience and now he's with the party. He's running around doing stuff. While all the other robots aren't, you know.
Yep.
And he doesn't seem too out of place there. Uh even in water deep dragon heist, there is a clockwork robot that I think is the one responsible for the like beginnings of the story, like causing the big hubbub that happens. And like it's sentient to a certain degree. And while it's not a warforged, it's a clockwork soldier. It's got its own stat block. That's essentially what we did. Is we just want to say, okay, that's just a warforged, and a player played a different version of that from the same inventor HUD.
Yeah.
Now that artificers are there, what is a steel defender but a freaking warforged? It's just a puppy, you
Yep.
know.
Yeah.
And our artificer makes a steel defender that's a humanoid. There's your warforged.
Yeah. We almost had to kill a whole bunch of them last night.
Yeah. No,
Or yeah.
like I said, they're very interesting and they're really cool just to have like a single one of in a story
Yep.
because Eberron
Eberron,
is just so
they're
vast,
common.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Like
everywhere.
yeah. But that's just that setting. Eberron is
Yeah,
designed for that. That was sort of the intention. Eberron, even more so than Forgotten Realm, is just a land of magic and machine. You
yeah,
know, you have I think there's sky rails, basically trains that run through the sky. I know they have a lot of basically the flying ships with hot air balloons attached to them. There's a lot of that level of magic,
yeah,
tons of clockwork.
yeah. We've talked about the Warforged that I played in fourth edition. That was essentially an Earth elemental.
Hmm.
I just took the Warforged as a base race package and gave it a feat that gave it attunement to Earth. And okay, now I'm an Earth Elemental. Okay, but I'm really just a Warforged when you really boil it down. I'm still acting like a Warforged would act. Very kind of cold and you know, not calculating, but just very cold and just very blunt and direct.
Yep.
So, and you get it's also very interesting as a DM too to have a bunch of traps and whatnot, and then like, oh, the acid trap or the gas trap triggers, and everyone starts taking poison damage when they breathe in the toxic gas, and then the Warforged player raises their hand and is like, I don't breathe.
Yep.
DM's like, F.
Yep.
All right, everyone but the Warforged. All right, I'm gonna go disable the trap, and then disable the trap. It, it's beautiful
Yeah.
when it happens.
Yeah. Or I mean, they'd be pretty. Just get a whole team of them to go hunt down green dragons.
Well, like a whole team of them kind of doesn't. It takes the fun out of it. Like there's a trap in Tomb of Annihilation that the entire room fills with wine. You know, and so instead of the water and people drowning, you're pretty much drowning and getting drunk at the same time. Okay, but the Warforged is in there, and the room fills up with wine. You just stand in there like, huh, okay. I wonder if this will ever drain out.
Yeah, but you
I'll
can't.
start beating through the door.
You can't tell me that if especially in Eberron, there would almost certainly be teams of Warforged.
Well, and yeah, in the setting that has lots of them, it
Yeah,
works. But
I'm not
like,
saying Forgotten Realms, obviously, but a
yeah,
setting that has Warforged as just a standard playable race, nothing
yeah.
different about them. Yeah, you would expect there would be entire teams of Warforged, and I think honestly, hunting green dragons would be a fairly lucrative profession that they would be good at.
Are there
You know,
dragons in Eberron? I haven't played it,
I,
so I don't know that much.
I haven't played it either. I don't truthfully know, but I would assume there are dragons. There's dragons in every setting. Like
You would think.
even Dark
No,
Sun had a dragon, had one.
right, a dragon.
Yeah, that was a whole different storyline though.
Well, enough about Warforged. I wanted to bring up something that kind of related to last week when we were talking about the UA for the giant package.
Giants,
I
the
don't want to.
giant
I don't want to.
slash not giant.
I don't want to retread too much on it because that's all we did last podcast is talk
Are,
about that.
are you going to bring up what Bruce talked about?
No,
Oh,
something
okay,
completely different
because we
that
should.
you missed, that I missed,
Mhm.
Panda missed, that all the DMs in our little group missed. So when you are the barbarian path of the giant, any weapon that you pick up gets the throne property.
This is
Okay,
what Bruce talked about.
hold on. Any weapon that you pick up gets the throne property. This includes, it is not limited to, ranged weapons, like a crossbow. Okay? So, there is an argument to be made that if you throw the crossbow, both the sharpshooter and crossbow expert feats apply to you throwing the crossbow at people. Because as you read them, it says that you've mastered ranged weapons, but when it says when you make a ranged weapon attack against somebody, and that's what you're doing when you throw a crossbow, is you're making a ranged weapon attack, you get all the bonuses. So a sharpshooter applies to throwing a crossbow. In fact, it would apply to pretty much any weapon that you throw. But the crossbow expert feats basically gives you you don't get disadvantage when you're throwing weapons in melee range. And you can basically just throw the crossbow and get all the benefits
I
from
I wish you had told me that we were going to discuss this
that.
because I haven't got any of this stuff pulled up, so I can't rebut your thoughts on it. I can't say otherwise.
So it's just very interesting. Sharpshooter applies because that is whenever you make a ranged weapon attack. So even if you were to throw your greatsword, sharpshooter still applies in that case. because you're throwing a weapon and you're giving it the thrown property, making it a ranged weapon. But just the fact that you can throw a crossbow and crossbow expert applies to it. Or you could get like little hand crossbows and just throw the hand crossbows at people. But you
Yep.
can only really imbue one, so.
Yeah, because we talked about the other thing that was specifically what Bruce talked about.
That was picking up a person and throwing it, but we debunked that because people aren't
No, you never
weapons.
did.
People are not weapons; they are objects. Sorry, they're creatures. If they're dead, then they become an object.
If I am playing a character
Mm-hmm.
and say I'm playing a halfling,
Mm-hmm.
halfling fighter, halfling barbarian, whatever, and then there's another barbarian in the group, and they want to throw me as a weapon, and I say yes. At that point, I become a weapon.
Technically, still no, because a person, a player, or anyone else is still considered a creature.
If you pick up, if you, Christopher Waples, the giant that you are, pick up a small child and throw them at me, that's going to hurt me. It's going to hurt the child too, but it's going to hurt me.
I'm just saying, and not in reality, as rules is written.
There are no rules as written that say people can't be used as a weapon. There are no rules either way.
Now, can a Warforged that it's essentially a living weapon?
Yeah.
Wield it as a weapon.
Yeah, if you can find anywhere in D&D 5e a statement, not Jeremy Crawford saying it. I mean, somewhere it's written, already written that says a person cannot be used as a weapon, I would agree with you. But it does not exist.
It does not exist because players are classified as creatures. And once you have a classification, your classification doesn't change unless something affects you for changing.
Yeah,
And you
I'm
saying, I'm
gonna
a
disagree.
weapon doesn't change it unless you die, then you're an object. And then I could argue that since you're an object and I'm throwing you, throwing an object is an improvised weapon attack, and then it would apply. But if you're
Yeah,
living, you're still a creature.
yeah, I will disagree with you on that until the end of time. There's nothing that states what a weapon has to be when it comes. Let me look up improvised weapons. Okay, maybe that will that might give us the proper wording we're looking for to kill this thing.
And
All right.
now for your favorite show, is it a weapon? Na, 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 with your grumpy Dungeon Master Jay. Na, 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 na.
Yeah, all right. Improvised weapon.
Is a melon
So,
still on a tree considered a weapon if it hasn't been plucked? No, it's not a weapon. It's an object. What about a rat? Only if you cast fire breathing on it, and then you point it at somebody and squeeze it, and you go, it burns everybody to death.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just read the whole thing and then we can hash it out. All right. Improvised weapons. Sometimes characters don't have their weapons and have to attack with whatever is at hand. An improvised weapon includes any object you can wield in one or two hands, such as broken glass, a table leg, a frying pan, a wagon wheel, or a dead goblin. Often, an improvised weapon is similar to an actual weapon and can be treated as such. For example, a table leg is akin to a club. At the GM's option, a character proficient with a weapon can use a similar object as if it were that weapon and use his or her proficiency bonus. An object that bears no resemblance to a weapon deals 1d4 damage. The GM assigns a damage type appropriate to the object. If a character uses a ranged weapon to make a melee attack or throws a melee weapon that does not have the thrown property, it also deals 1d4 damage. An improvised thrown weapon has a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60. Yeah, so there's nothing.
Except
There's
the first
nothing in there.
paragraph, the last two words.
Yeah, but such as these are examples. These don't.
Right.
These are not
So,
every example.
so a dead goblin, okay?
Yeah,
And they're very
or
specific.
a live goblin.
No, a dead goblin. A dead creature, okay, is considered an object, okay? But a living creature A living goblin is classified as a creature. Creatures are not weapons. However, when you die, you become an object, and then you can be used as a weapon via improvised weapons. So yes, if I die, you can pick me up, imbue me with your fire thing, and start throwing me at people. But if I was alive, you couldn't do it because I was a creature, hence living.
Okay, I found it.
Okay.
So they actually, for 5e, they actually do define object. They define that word.
Okay.
So for the purposes of these rules, I'm not going to read the bit above it because that's not important. An object is a discrete inanimate item like a window, door, sword, book, table, chair, or stone, not a building or vehicle that's composed of many other objects. Uh, so yeah, it does say object is inanimate. So okay,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll go with that. But you got to find these little nuances because otherwise somebody could pick up someone and throw them and get them to return in the same round. With what is it? Is it elemental cleaver that does that?
Something, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those abilities from the new UA.
So for the D&D competition, I'm gonna make basically level 11 characters, so everyone has like the same starting like PCs. They'll get
Okay,
to choose. The parties of four will get to choose what PCs they play, but everyone's gonna get the same options, the same one for each character.
all
And
right.
I'm heavily debating on, instead of doing a bear totem barbarian, to go with a Path of Giants barbarian.
I would not touch the
I
UA, man.
Everyone has basically said no, don't do that, and I agree with you, but still, it's a path. It's
No,
fine.
you let people run that in your one shot games
I
or even
know,
your
I
own
know,
home, even your own campaign, but I would not do that for a competition.
I know, but I wanna.
I get it. You love giants. I understand. I
I
understand.
wanna.
If I were you, I would actually pick like some of the lesser played subclasses. Yeah, because the what was the other one you said, the bear barbarian? Like
Bear
everybody,
totem?
yeah, everybody plays that. It's really good.
Yeah.
I would make them play one that's not as good.
Well, no, I want to have a. I'm going to categorize them as like tank support, DPS control.
Well, all
Um,
barbarians categorized as tank.
yeah, but you can go zealot, and now you're not a tank. You're just killing things. Um,
You take half damage from all physical attacks, and you have D12 for hit dice. You're a tank.
yeah, I don't want anything super crazy. I don't want a lot of like Gloomstalker Ranger. It's not going to happen.
Probably avoid that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Gloomstalker Rangers. But like I might do Battle Master Fighter because that's what everyone expects, you know.
Yep.
And
I will say if you ever run a campaign where it's always night, do not allow Gloomstalkers. Just don't. I'm
the monk's going to
invisible
be a
all the
healer.
time.
The monk's going to be the healing spec.
Yeah. Yep, that's your only cleric is the monk.
I've actually always wanted to play that one because there's not a lot of people that would actually play it. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, you're
what is
not
it?
wrong.
The Sun
Mercy?
Soul,
Yeah, the Sun Soul, that's it.
or is that the
I
Dragon
thought
Ball Z one? No, that's the
no.
Dragon Ball Z one.
Oh, is it? I thought it was Sun Soul. Uh, Healing Monk.
Uh,
Way of Tranquility.
right? No,
No?
that's not an official one.
Yeah, you get healing.
Way of Mercy.
Way of
Way of
Mercy.
Mercy. Yeah.
Oh, okay, there it
You
is,
get
right
Hand
below
of
Way of
Healing.
Tranquility.
Way of Tranquility. What?
Yeah, I just googled D&D
Oh,
5e healing monk, and the first two that
that's
came up was Way
that's
of Tranquility and then Way of Mercy under it.
Way of Tranquility is definitely homebrew. Uh, so yeah, it's Way of Mercy, where you at third level you can use your key die to basically heal people. Your
Equal to
martial
your
arts
martial arts
die
die plus
plus
your
wisdom
wisdom
on it,
mod.
which isn't bad. it keeps people up. You play in the one body game a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but you can also inflict wounds the same way too.
Yep.
Uh,
With the hands of harm.
yeah, and they will be level 11. That's where I'm going to build everybody out to. So they would get the Way of Mercy feature. So you can use basically hand of healing multiple times, I believe, around.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not doing that. I'm probably doing JoJo. So for the monk.
Oh, jeez. Of course you would be.
No, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, good grief.
Right?
JoJo.
Everything's a JoJo reference.
Yep. At least to you.
Well,
Hey,
to
Chris. So with your NPCs, when you create NPCs for your game and you actually have to talk to players and stuff with them, are they terrible? Do they suck? Like, are all of them named Steve, Dave, and Bob?
I mean, we've discussed this many times. Yes, everyone's named Steve
Yeah, yeah.
or
I,
Stephanie.
I found the answer to this though. I found a way to make them not boring and to not suck.
What's that?
The Game Master's Book of Non-Player Characters by Jeff Ashworth.
Oh my God, is this a segue?
And it worked beautifully.
My cat disapproved and just jumped off the counter and
Oh,
walked away.
I heard the noise. I thought you were getting up and just walking off. I thought it was you setting down your headset.
No, I appreciate a good plug when it happens. Are we getting paid for this?
No, but I really enjoy this guy's books.
Are you inviting him onto the podcast?
We should do that. I'll reach out to him if I could figure out how. I'm sure he's on Twitter somewhere. But yeah, no, it's a book I had picked up recently. I haven't quite gotten a chance to use it, but it's 500 plus unique bartenders, brawlers, mages, merchants, royals, rogues, sages, sailors, warriors, weirdos, and more for 5th edition RPG adventures. So it's not pure D&D. This would honestly it'd work for almost all settings.
Okay.
And it is exactly what he claims. It is a book full of just NPCs and not just names. So at the beginning of the book, there's 3 like one-shot adventures you can run, and I have yet to properly look through them.
Mm-hmm.
But each of the NPCs, most of them don't actually have stat blocks, but there's a few throughout that do. But
Yeah.
they give you the character's name, the NPC's name. They give you a quote that they would say to sort of give you a feel for what they are. Then it gives you a proper description for them, and then it has what they refer to as for the insightful. There's for the insightful, for the druidic, for the orcish, for the perceptive. And these are things that somebody who has a high skill in those might notice. So, like for the insightful, if you have a high insight, you might notice this other little thing in the shaded box. If you're a druid, you might notice this other thing. If you're an orc, you might notice this other thing. Then it gives you a bit more information on them. And there's 3 other sections that it has: wants and needs, secret or obstacle, and carrying. The carrying is obviously all the gear that they've got on them that matters. Wants and needs of each of the NPCs is things that if you provide them, you might be able to get in good with them. And then secret or obstacle is something that they might not want to talk about, but if you get in good with them, maybe they will. And it's basically a way for having a little side quest if you want, or even hell, yeah, it depends on how deep you want to go into it with your as the DM. You could just do a whole damn adventure off of that.
Mm-hmm.
But uh,
Cool.
yeah, I'm gonna read through just one of these so everybody sort of gets the idea. Let's see. Here's one of them called Dottie Dabbler. And Dottie Dabbler would say, I don't want to think about it. An auburn haired woman wearing a black shawl with a small twig tied around her neck. And for the druidic, so if you're a druid, uh, wearing wood is a common practice for those who have made a dire request of the tree sprites. Dottie is a proud mother of 4 boys and 1 curious little girl. Dottie Dabbler was the envy of many in town. Then Maisie Dabbler ran into the forest chasing her dog, Tuck. When she didn't return, her brothers did what big brothers do and went to find her. That was 3 weeks ago. Now all Dottie can do is hope the sprites heard her prayer. Wants and needs, Dottie would love to see her children again. Secret or obstacle, whispers persist a group of trolls are working with a trio of hag covens to capture children in the woods. So, yeah, you see this, it gives you a description, it gives you a whole little setup.
A trio of hag covens. So is that 3 separate hag covens? So
Yes, that would
9
be nine,
hags
that
in
would be nine
total?
hags. Yeah, that would be
Okay.
9 hags. It's
That's a lot
obvious.
of hags.
Well, that's for a high level group, obviously.
That's a lot of hags.
That is a lot of hags.
That's a lot of fish.
But anyway, I am in love with this book. I'm definitely going to be using it a lot. So all the other DMs whose NPCs are terrible, just like mine, buy this and then they won't be.
Mine are perfect. They're all named Steve. They're all human male, retired, and
Oh,
they
even
all
my
look the same.
yeah, mine are all Steve, Dave, and Bob. Even the dwarves, even the elves, they're just all Steve, Dave, and Bob. But not anymore. I'm gonna bring life to my world by just randomly flipping through and pointing to a name if I have to.
Yep.
Uh,
I mean, ultimately what it is. That's why Xanathars is such a good book for your D
yeah,
and D arsenal. Even no matter what you play, just the amount of random tables that it has, so you can just basically go, "Oh shit, I need an NPC." Flip, roll. Okay, this is the NPC. Oh, I
yep,
need a name. There's 30 pages of names in that book.
yeah. There's a lot. Yeah, it was kind of interesting with Xanathars because they had a lot of the names based off of real world, cultures and such. The Irish
Yeah,
names, the so forth, and things like that. And depending on what your setting is, that could be incredibly useful. Just
yeah,
bam, there's a name.
yeah. NPCs are like,
The hardest part of the damn game.
yeah, to a degree, they are. Um, like Baldur's Gate, just to reference that yet again. The first bar they go into had like 12 NPCs, and they all have like a sentence or two tops describing them. Half orc something or other who's really good at this. I'm like, that's all you get. You get a name, a race, and like their favorite food, and you got to fill in the rest of the blanks. And I, I just play them like, as tropey as possible because I really don't have anything else to.
Yeah,
I don't have
I
the
mean
time to think of something through.
a lot of times if it's just an NPC that the players are asking some information from, just a random NPC, all you need is what are they, what's their name.
Yeah.
Nothing else particularly should matter about that NPC.
I tend to find that all my NPCs are snarky, mostly because I'm snarky.
Yeah, because you're snarky.
Eh,
There's one other great thing I wanted to pitch about this book. It's 270 pages, hardbound, and it was $25, brand new.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's half the price of every other official D&D book. Obviously, it's not an official one, but
And 4 times the length.
yeah, 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 it's almost double a couple of them.
Well, I mean, now that 64 pages is the average size of a
Oh
book, I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
joking about the 4 times the length.
yeah. You're not wrong on that. Those
Oh,
haven't been released, but yeah, they are coming out, which is kind of ridiculous. Oh,
crazy stuff. So, I was browsing Reddit, uh, like as I do, looking for good topics before we started all this. And I'm
you're
gonna read
such
you
a
this
good
post.
podcast host sometimes.
Am I?
Well, you did something I have been doing that a lot lately. Not Reddit per
All,
se.
all I do is look at Reddit and find the most upvoted posts and talk about that on the podcast. I doubt it's doing a good job. But
That's way more.
anyways,
It's way more than me. So
so I'll read you the post. It says, so, my DM just messaged me, asking if I'll be back to the session tomorrow. He approved a leave of absence because I got married and was on my honeymoon. He just told me that my cleric was disintegrated, killing me off while I was away. Bold on his part, but I don't know how I feel about that yet. I don't know what happened to lead up to this. That's all he told me. Has this ever happened to anybody else? So he left. He left that post, and then a day later, he came back and started looking at people and filling some of the blanks in. So first off, he has to get leave of absences from his game because if he doesn't get a leave of absence and he misses 3 sessions in a row without notice, the DM kills off his character.
Okay.
Okay. If you that's bullshit right there. If they
Uh,
if they don't show up without notice,
go
you don't get to kill their character. They just wander off forever until they may or may not return.
go ahead and finish your
Ugh.
thoughts on it. I have my own.
So the last time the guy played, he said that they had just went into a nightmare where everyone had a different dream for each PC. But the result was everyone woke up in a cold sweat, and he forced the elves to even fall asleep for this to happen. They took a long rest, and that ended the session. Everyone woke up. That's the last time he played. So then he leaves, goes on his honeymoon, and essentially he said that the another player was playing the cleric, filling in for him or whatever,
Mhm.
and the cleric was disintegrated. And what was funny is the player playing this other PC's cleric had his own sidekick cleric or whatever that they normally use, but instead we're playing the PC instead. So the DM wasn't playing the away player's PC, another player was.
Right.
And that's when they got disintegrated. Now, I know we've kind of talked about like what to do when a player isn't there, and I just
Yeah,
basically
but this is a whole other
yeah.
conversation. Um, my personal thoughts on all of that, and that's a lot. There's a whole bunch of things going on. All right, when you do your session zero, because a lot of people apparently do that now. Uh, this should things like this should have all been discussed. If the DM setting a ground rule of if you miss three, I kill off your character. As long as that is in that session zero and it's talked about ahead of time, so it's not a surprise, I don't care. You know, that's between the DM and the player. Um,
Mhm.
I personally I would never do that, but that is not me running the game. As long as everybody's on board, then that's how that works. Uh, Another player playing somebody else's character, and this all of this has to have been discussed ahead of time. This should have all been sort of worked out before they even got to that point. We do it in my game. If somebody misses a game, sometimes another person will play their character. If we have the character sheet and they have that player's permission to do so, I'll let another person run them. They're only they are there for nothing but combat. A cleric, you're going to be healing, you're going to be doing whatever, you're not going to have any interactions, nobody's going to role play their character, but it is
Mhm.
another body on the field for combat. um I think that was the majority of it. There's probably something else in there you mentioned that I've already forgotten because that's how I am.
I mean, with as easy as it is to pull up a sidekick, and the fact that sidekicks are the
Oh
equivalent
yeah, yeah.
power level of PCs, you don't need to have other players playing somebody's PC. Like, now that's all agreed ahead of time, sure, that's one thing. I
If
don't
they
care
they
if
had you said they had a sidekick, so yeah, that player should not have been playing that person's character.
right.
Uh, they, in my game, there are no sidekicks. If somebody isn't at a game, I either their character just is not there. I don't make excuses. I don't make up reasons why they're not
Right.
there. They're just not there. Or another player plays them if they have permission. As a DM, I'm never going to target specifically the away person. I'm going to do everything in my power as a DM to not kill that character.
No, I've had other players play the absentee player before,
Mhm.
and I don't treat them any different. But if they die, the player playing the PCs, that PC didn't die. You're just playing like a ethereal sidekick version of that player or whatever.
Yeah,
If
they
you
got
really need to
knocked
RP,
out. Yeah, they didn't
yeah,
die.
nothing. I am a starch believer in that nothing negative happens to a player if they missed. If
Unless
the
if
cleric
it happens to the whole party, then they go with it.
Yes, if
But
the campaign ends, the campaign ends. But like in this case, the cleric getting disintegrated. Okay, cool. Hey, your cleric got disintegrated. I'll see you next week when you play your cleric again. Like,
Yeah,
that should have been the whole conversation.
it really
Not
should
like,
have. Yes.
okay, I've been playing this character now for 4 years, and it gets disintegrated while I'm on my honeymoon, and there's nothing I can do about it. That's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Like,
If it was never talked about ahead of time that that's a possibility of things happening, then yeah, that's shitty. Now there are some DMs who run very hardcore games, life or death, and second edition was that way constantly. First edition was that way. It's
mm,
a lot less of an issue nowadays, but very hardcore games can lead to player death. Uh,
yeah. But with as difficult as it is to get players at a table, especially when you're all adults,
mhm.
okay, to all sit around and not be on their honeymoon,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Give some
like,
leeway there, guy.
give some, just I get it. Player miss, it sucks. It happens all the time when I'm streaming, but I still roll with the punches. You know,
You have to.
all of a sudden half the hit points are reduced a bunch, or the bandit numbers are reduced a bunch, or XYZ changes occur. Like, I mean, if you're about to go fight a beholder and a player misses, and that player gets disintegrated, and the beholder's dead, and the player comes back, okay, he was just outside the beholder room the entire time. And what got disintegrated? Oh,
Yeah. And
something did.
here's another thing as a DM to think about, and we do this not often, but we do it fairly regularly. I'll be doing this coming weekend. If a player misses and you're in the middle of an important storyline, or you don't want them to miss the culmination of stuff, then maybe just take a week off, run a
Yeah.
one shot, do something else. So next weekend, one of my players, Johnny, he missed 2 game sessions ago. He was at the last one I did, and then he's going to miss the next one. And I want all of my players to be there for the next one because it is sort of not necessarily a culmination, but it's important stuff storyline wise that's coming up, and I want everybody to be there for it. So I'm just not going to run that weekend. I have a one shot I'm planning I'm going to do instead, so that we can still get together. We can still have some fun. We can play some D&D. Yeah.
Is it Dread of the Ice Devil?
No, it is not Dread of the Ice Devil.
Oh.
I've got my own stuff. It is sort of based on an idea of yours, however. I can
Oh.
talk to you. I'll talk to you about it off stream because they haven't played it
Oh.
yet.
Oh. Boo.
You're a DM. You know you can't tell what you're going to run before the players play it. What the hell's wrong with you?
I know. I've been basically stumbling over my words, and I was trying to recruit people to come out and play the anniversary event. And
Mhm.
so, like, I've been stumbling and avoiding saying certain words because I don't want to tip players off as like what have any idea of what the module's going to be. So
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah.
but yeah. As a DM, yeah, it's a hard job, but man, it can be difficult to get players. So play nice with everybody. You want
Especially players you've had for 4 years.
yeah. I mean, if you've been playing with somebody for 4 years, you're friends. Yeah, you're not just DM and player. You're friends.
I don't know. I put a hard line there. It's like you are nothing but cattle fodder to me.
Anybody I've
I,
ever played D&D with for that long, I would have considered a friend. Maybe it's just me.
you are nothing but toys for me to play with. All
Yeah.
right, roll initiative.
Now, all that being said, I also play Magic: The Gathering with people that I play D&D with. I play
And
board games with them. I play video games with them. So
and all you play is blue counter decks.
no, I'm not that asshole. Not anymore. 20 years ago. Oh yeah, yeah, that was me.
uh, so the reason why I played the Baldur's Gate game today was because they released the Battle for Baldur's Gate Commander set.
Mhm.
So I before the game started, I picked up a pre-release deck and I think two uh, set boosters. Yeah, and I wanted to see if I pulled any cards that would be reminiscent of Baldur's Gate. I was specifically looking for, I think Captain Zorg or whatever his name is a card, and I know a couple of the Dukes are. and one of the cards I got actually had one of the villains of Baldur's Gate in it, so I like put that one to the side so I could show it off. And the Basilisk Gate is where everybody starts the campaign. And I pulled that card, so I showed everybody the Basilisk Gate.
Okay.
And a few other cards, like they have Lulu the Holy Font. So if you ever get to Avernus, there you can pull out that card. It's like she looks like this, instead of like you get the Beetle and Grim plushie of Lulu. You know,
Yeah.
that's going super hardcore.
See, it never even occurred to me that they were actually building a set based on the module.
It's not that they built it on the module; they just everything that is in the module is a card in there.
Yeah, that never occurred to me until now when you mentioned it. Like, yeah, oh,
Zarya,
Battle for Baldur's Gate. All right, cool. It's a D&D set. That's literally what that meant to me.
no, Duke Van Thumper is in there.
Is Elminster in that module?
I pulled Elemenster.
Yeah, I knew he was a good card. Okay.
Yeah, pulled the card, but he's not in the module now.
Okay.
So they pretty much basically took all the cool stuff from the module, and then like more well-known characters from other places.
Yeah. The new Binkskin Boo Planeswalker, Elminster.
Is he any good? Because I pulled him.
Who? Minkskin Boo?
No, Elemenster.
I don't remember what he does, man.
That's all today for today's Magic the Gathering podcast. My name is Chris. I'm sad now.
Let's see, Elminster. Yeah, he's good. He's got blue in his mana cost.
That's all you looked at.
That's all I needed to see. Yep, he's blue. He's good.
All right. I think that's it for us today then.
All right. Sounds good.
Yep. Again, July 9th, if you're near Charleston, you need to come down and participate. Sign up starts when this podcast comes out. When you're listening to this, you can go to Synergy-Gamers.com and sign up and everything. So do it and come out and play a game. It'll be fun.
Thanks for listening. Show up to Chris's thing. Bye, Craig.
Hi, Craig.
I'm southbound and down. All my rolls are crits. It's time for me to hit the bricks.